The 2005 McDonald's All-American team might be the worst one we've covered, at least in terms of future NBA star power. There are a few guys who carved out solid careers, but most of these guys failed to live up to their full potential. As far as guys who didn't make the roster, but went on to pro success, this year's class includes 2010 All-Rookie Darren Collison, longtime Knick and Nugget Wilson Chandler, and one-time NFL Pro Bowler Martell Ellis. Yeah, it's a pretty rough one. Let's jump into the 2005 class of McDonald's All-Americans and see what happened. Korvotney Barber. Barber decided to play college ball at Auburn. The 6'7" forward averaged 7 points, 5 boards, and 1.5 blocks a night as a freshman. He bumped that up to 11, 6.6, and 1.7 as a sophomore, but missed most of his junior season with a broken hand. Barber came back as a senior and played well, averaging 13 points, 10 boards, and 1.2 blocks to make the All-SEC team. During his time with the Tigers, Vaught was used as an undersized center, somewhat limiting his NBA prospects. He played for 2 seasons in Switzerland, but was tragically found dead via drowning at Panama City Beach in 2013 at just 26 years old. On the day of his drowning, PCB had closed its waters due to hazardous conditions, which did lead to some speculation around his death, but everything that has ultimately been reported points to his loss of life being an accidental tragedy. Eric Boateng. Boateng was born in London, but moved to Delaware for high school ball, where he dropped 19.6 points, 13.6 rebounds, and 4.6 blocks per game as a senior. He joined Duke to start his collegiate career. He came off the bench to play just under 3 minutes a night and decided to transfer to Arizona State. After sitting out a year, Boateng was a key bench contributor for the Sun Devils for the next 2 seasons, averaging about 3 points and 3 boards. In 2010, he was named a starter, averaging 9 points and 7 rebounds. Boateng wasn't drafted, but played with the Knicks in Summer League. His performance there impressed the Nuggets, who signed him to a preseason contract. Unfortunately, Boateng was the final cut before the start of the 2011 season. He spent about a year playing in the D-League before diving into an overseas career, spending time in Greece, Germany, Argentina, and France. He also represented Great Britain several times in international play. Boateng retired in 2019 and has moved into a role helping grow the game in the UK, where he's still working as of 2025. Jon Brockman. Brockman joined a Washington team that also included Brandon Roy and Bobby Jones. The big guy wasn't an instant star, but played well, averaging 8.5 points and 6.5 rebounds. With Roy and Jones off to the NBA, Brockman upped his averages to 14 points and 10 boards, making the All-Pac-10 team. He bumped his scoring up to nearly 18 a night in 08 as the Huskies' lead dog, before dropping slightly to 15 points and 11.5 boards in 2009 when Isaiah Thomas joined the team. Of course, the team won more games that year, so he's probably fine with the slight downtick. The Trailblazers picked the Brock Ness monster in the second round of the 2009 draft and quickly traded him to the Kings. He was an average bench player as a rookie, but was traded to the Bucks in 2011. Brockman spent 2 years in Milwaukee, playing less and less until heading overseas. He played in France and Germany before retiring in 2016. He then moved back to his hometown and opened his own pumpkin farm. After 4 years of that, Brockman and his family sold the farm, and he started teaching agricultural science at his high school alma mater, where he's still working as of 2024. Andrew Bynum. 2005 was the final year high school seniors could jump straight to the NBA, so you're gonna hear a lot of this, but Andrew Bynum decided to skip college at just 17 to jump to the pros. Had he gone to college, he was planning to go to UConn, but instead, the Lakers picked him 10th overall. Bynum was 12 days younger than Jermaine O'Neal, making him the youngest player ever drafted. He did not play well during his first season, but Bynum kept growing as a player over his first few years. Sure, he had some injury setbacks in 08 and 09, but he kept plugging away. Bynum was mostly an afterthought in the Lakers' 09 title, as he was coming off of a knee injury late in the season that limited his availability. Still, he came back in 2010 to average 15 points and 8 rebounds. Bynum was injured during that year's playoffs, so he wasn't quite as good in the postseason, but he did enough to help Los Angeles win a second straight title. The next year, Bynum picked up some DPOY votes, but 2012 was his true coming out party. That year, he dropped 19 points, 12 boards, and 2 blocks a night to make the All-Star and All-NBA rosters. However, the team decided to make a splashy move and trade Bynum to the 76ers as part of the deal that brought Dwight Howard to LA. Unfortunately, his knee issues started giving him even more issues, and Bynum missed the entire 2013 season. He signed with the Cavs in 2014, playing limited minutes in 24 games before being traded to the Pacers. After 2 games, he was once again out with knee soreness and never played in the NBA again. What's wild is that Bynum was only 27 at the time, but he seems to be enjoying his retirement, mostly living out of the public eye. Mario Chalmers. Both of Chalmers' parents were basketball coaches, so it's not a huge surprise that he became a top player. He joined the Kansas Jayhawks, where his father was an assistant coach. He was pretty much a star from the jump, averaging 11.5 points, 4 assists, and nearly 3 steals a night as a freshman to make the Big 12 All-Freshman squad. His numbers hovered around there for the next 2 years, winning the Big 12 Co-Defensive Player of the Year in 2008 and the NCAA Tournament Most Outstanding Player Award in 2008, en route to beating Memphis for the national title. Memorably, his three-point shot with 2.1 seconds left on the clock took the game to overtime, where the Jayhawks took down freshman phenom Derrick Rose. The Timberwolves picked Chalmers in the second round of the 2008 draft before quickly trading him to the Heat. Chalmers spent his first 8 years in Miami, playing well at times, but often becoming the scapegoat for the LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh Heatles. Still, he helped the team win 2 titles before being traded to the Grizzlies in 2016. Chalmers spent 2 years in Memphis, missing the entire 2017 season with a torn Achilles. The Grizz released him after the 2018 season, and Rio spent 5 years playing overseas, with stops in Italy, Greece, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. He retired in 2023 and seems to be focusing on his family as of 2025. Brandon Costner. Costner's dad played college ball at St. Joe's and was a second-round draft pick by the Bullets in 1984. The younger Costner joined NC State for college. He played in 5 games during his true freshman season before an injury forced him to take a medical redshirt. When he came back, Costner dropped 17 points and 7 boards. However, J.J. Hickson joined the Wolfpack the next year, and Costner's numbers fell off as his playing time decreased. He was still solid during his last 2 years, but never surpassed his redshirt freshman season. Costner went unselected in the 2009 draft and spent about a decade playing overseas, making stops in Belgium, France, China, Puerto Rico, Lebanon, Japan, and Rwanda. He retired after the 2021 season and is working in sales as of 2025. Eric Devendorf. Devendorf was instantly a key contributor with Syracuse, averaging 12 points and 2 assists as a freshman. He bumped that up to 15-4 as a sophomore, but was injured in 2008, limiting him to just 10 games. He came back after his ACL tear and started the season well. However, he was suspended several games after being accused of striking a female student during an altercation. Ultimately, he missed a few games and served 40 hours of community service before being reinstated. Devendorf averaged 16 points and 3 assists that year. He was not selected in the 2009 draft, so he spent some time playing in the D-League and overseas. Notably, Devendorf was released by a New Zealand team called the Waikato Pistons in 2010 after a conflict at a local bar. Over his 7 years of pro ball, Devendorf spent time in New Zealand, Australia, Turkey, Ukraine, Israel, and Greece. In 2016, he left his playing days behind and joined Jim Boeheim's staff at Syracuse as an assistant strength coach. 2 years later, he joined Detroit Mercy as an assistant. In 2021, he started working as a high school coach, but left that position in 2023. As of 2025, he runs some basketball camps and does broadcast work with ESPN as a color commentator. Micah Downs. Downs began his collegiate career at Kansas. he came off the bench for 13 games before deciding to transfer back home and play at Gonzaga. After sitting out a year, Downs became a solid player for the Zags, getting his numbers up to 10 points and 5 boards as a senior. The big guard was not selected in the 2009 draft. He did do a few summer league stints, but spent his career playing overseas. Downs made stops in Croatia, Belgium, Spain, Venezuela, Ukraine, Russia, Italy, France, Portugal, and Germany. Over the years, he's won a few championships, most recently picking up the Portuguese Cup in 2022. It looks like he's still hooping in the Portuguese League as of 2025. Byron Eaton. Eaton was part of Eddie Sutton's greatest recruiting class in Oklahoma State history. Unfortunately, 2 other top guys, one of which we'll talk about soon, never played for the Pokes, but Eaton quickly endeared himself in Stillwater, becoming a fan favorite while holding down the point guard position for 4 seasons. Over his career, Eaton averaged 10 points, 4 assists, and 2 steals a night, though most remember his ridiculous circus shot against Texas as his standout moment. Eaton was named to 2 All-Big 12 rosters, but only had 1 NCAA tourney run, partially thanks to the off-court distractions from the Sutton clan. He was not selected in the draft and spent a season playing in the lower domestic leagues and then another in Japan. After spending several years out of the spotlight, Eaton stepped right back in, at least locally. He took over as the head football coach at his alma mater in Dallas in 2025. That might sound surprising, but Eaton was also a star quarterback in high school. Plus, his son inherited that football skill. Byron Eaton Jr. is a redshirt freshman running back at Grambling State as of 2025. Monta Ellis. Ellis destroyed the Mississippi high school scene, dropping as many as 72 points in a single game on his way to claiming several High School Player of the Year awards. He was originally set to head to Mississippi State, but jumped to the draft, where the Warriors picked him in the 2nd round. He played sparingly as a rookie, but turned heads with his game-changing speed. In 2007, he took over as the starting 2 guard, averaging 16.5 points, 4 assists, and nearly 2 steals a night to win the Most Improved Player award. Ellis continued to improve through the next few years, bumping his scoring up to as much as 25.5 a night in 2010. When playing alongside a young Steph Curry, the duo gave opponents a ton of problems, as guarding both of them sometimes felt impossible. In 2012, management made the choice to trade Ellis in a package that brought Andrew Bogut and Steven Jackson to the Warriors. The deal definitely worked out better for the Warriors, but Ellis continued to play well during his year and change in Milwaukee, averaging around 20 points and 6 assists a game. In 2013, Ellis signed with the Mavs. He played well during his 2 years in Dallas, but always felt like a weird fit with Dirk. Ellis decided not to pick up his player option for the 2016 season and signed with the Pacers. He did 2 more seasons in Indy, but struggled to stay healthy and saw his production fall off a cliff. Ellis was waived in 2017, but the way his contract was structured meant he was paid by the team through the 2022 season. Still, he was out of the league after the season and has been enjoying his retirement. His daughter Mila seems to be a relatively high-level soccer player, while his son, Monte Jr., is a rising prospect in the 2028 class. Bobby Frasor. Frasor left Illinois to play college ball at North Carolina. He made the ACC All-Freshman team behind 6 points and 4 assists a night while starting all 31 games. However, he dealt with multiple foot and knee injuries over the next few years, limiting his development. Frasor was back in 2009 and helped the team win a title. That year, the guard mostly came off the bench to average 3 points and 2 rebounds. He was not selected in the 2009 draft and spent the next few years playing overseas in Bulgaria and Greece. In 2011, he joined the UNC staff as a video coordinator. After a year in that position, Frasor joined the UAB staff. In 2015, he became the head coach at his high school alma mater, where he worked through 2022, winning 2 regional titles. As of 2025, he is working in sales. Danny Green. Green joined Frasor at UNC. He was a solid 6th man for the team as a freshman, averaging 7.5 points and 4 rebounds. Green held that role for the next 2 seasons, upping his scoring to 11.5 as a junior. As a senior, Green finally earned a starting role, averaging 13 points, 5 boards, and 3 assists on a national championship winning team. Green was named to the All-ACC third team and All-ACC defensive team. The Cavs picked him in the second round of the 2009 draft. Green spent 15 years in the NBA, jumping between several teams. His most impressive stretch came during his 8-year run with the Spurs. In the land of churros, Green averaged 9 points, 4 boards, 1 steal, and 1 block, making one all-defensive team. And while Green never became a star, he was a key veteran on 3 title-winning teams, picking up championships in 2014, 2019, and 2020. Green retired in 2024 after a short stint with the 76ers. As of 2025, he's focused on his Inside the Green Room podcast that he's been doing for several years. Gerald Green. Green is the second cousin of Danny Green, which I believe makes them the first cousin to play in the same McDonald's game, though I might be missing somebody. The 6'7" guard signed to attend Oklahoma State, but hired an agent and jumped into the 2005 draft. The Celtics picked him 18th overall. He played in only 32 games as a rookie, spending most of the year in the D-League. His PT jumped in year 2, as Green averaged 10 points a night. However, he was part of the massive trade that brought Kevin Garnett to Boston in 2008, which meant Green was now on the Timberwolves. He was stuck on the bench and asked for a trade. Before that was granted, he showed out at the 2008 Slam Dunk Contest, memorably hitting the birthday cake dunk, but losing to Dwight Howard in a fan vote. Green was traded to the Rockets soon after, but was released when the season ended. He spent a season with the Mavs before jumping overseas for a few years. Green played for 2 seasons in Russia and joined the LA Defenders in the D-League in 2012. He became an All-Star in that league, which led to a contract with the Nets. Green wowed the crowd with jaw-dropping dunks while also showing off an improved shot to average 13 points a night. He spent a year in Indy before signing with the Suns in 2014. There, he became a weapon off the bench, averaging 16 points with his lethal 3-ball and otherworldly hops. His scoring came down a bit in 2015, and Green spent the next few years bouncing around the league, spending time with the Heat, Celtics, and Rockets. Unfortunately, injuries started to limit his availability. Green missed the entire 2020 season with an injury and retired. He came out of retirement in 2022 to join the Rio Grande Valley Vipers, helping the team win a G League title. He's still playing big 3-ball, winning Finals MVP in 2024. Green has also done a bit of coaching with the Rockets, so he might move into that career path full-time in the near future. Tyler Hansbrough. Hansbrough was a force during his time with the North Carolina Tar Heels. He won ACC Rookie of the Year and National Freshman of the Year in 2006 behind 19 points and 8 rebounds a night. The next year, he was a first-team All-American. In 2008, he won the National College Player of the Year with 23 points and 10 boards a game. During his senior season, Hansbrough was only a first-team All-American, but he finally led UNC to the top of the mountain, winning a championship. He's one of the all-time great college players, and the Pacers picked him 13th overall in the 2009 draft. Unfortunately, injuries sustained in college followed him to the pros, and Psycho T played in only 29 games as a rookie. He came back strong in 2011, averaging 11 points and 5 rebounds. In 2012, Hansbrough moved to a 6-man role, but never improved on his 2011 season. Hansbrough signed with the Raptors in 2013. He played there for 2 years before joining the Hornets for the 2016 season. That was the final year of his NBA career, though Hansbrough did spend 4 years playing in China and 1 in Puerto Rico. In 2021, he joined the ACC network as a color commentator for UNC. As of 2025, he's doing some teaching at his alma mater and plays some mean pickleball. Richard Hendrix. Hendrix decided to stay in-state and play at Alabama. He spent 3 years with the team, growing into an All-SEC first-teamer in 2008, behind 18 points, 10 boards, and 2 blocks a night. The big guy decided to make the jump to the 2008 draft, where the Warriors picked him in the second round. Hendrix never played in the NBA, but was a D-League All-Star in 2009 before heading overseas. He spent time in Spain, Israel, Italy, Russia, Turkey, France, and Japan. He was named the Euro Cup Finals MVP in 2013 and picked up championships in Israel and Spain. After retiring in 2021, Hendrix joined ESPN as a college basketball analyst. He's still working for the broadcaster as of 2025, while also doing some work for the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Amir Johnson. Johnson was originally committed to Louisville, but skipped out to declare for the 2005 draft. The Pistons picked him in the second round, making him the last player in NBA history to be drafted directly from high school, at least until Satam Singh was picked in 2015 in one of the stranger cases of eligibility. Johnson played in 3 games for Detroit as a rookie before being assigned to the D-League. He also spent most of his second season in the D-League, averaging 19 points and 10 boards. In 2008, Johnson finally saw consistent NBA action, averaging 4 minutes in 62 games. After one more average season in Detroit, Johnson was traded to the Bucks ahead of the 2010 season. They then traded him to the Raptors, where he signed a 5-year deal. During his 6 seasons in Toronto, Johnson grew into a double-digit scorer while giving the team solid rebounds and defense. He never took that step towards stardom, but was a solid enough starter, even helping the Raps to 2 playoff appearances. He signed with the Celtics in 2015, but his numbers started to fall off over the next 2 years. Johnson signed with Philly ahead of the 2018 season. During his 2 years with the Sixers, his most notable moment was when he was caught on the sideline showing Joel Embiid a text message while Philly was losing. That was, of course, against league rules and was often memed on the internet. He spent a few years playing with the G League Ignite before joining the team as a coach in 2023. Since the team closed its doors in 2024, Johnson has been working in player development for the Clippers. Josh McRoberts. The 2005 McDonald's MVP decided to leave Indy and play his college ball at Duke. He played well as a freshman with 9 points and 5 boards to make the ACC All-Freshman team. He bumped his numbers up to 13 points, 8 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks as a sophomore to make the All-ACC second team. He decided to skip his last 2 years of eligibility and enter the 2007 draft. The Trailblazers picked him in the second round. He spent most of his rookie season in the D-League. Before the 2009 season, he was traded to the Pacers. During his 3 years there, McRoberts averaged about 5 points and 4 boards, mostly coming off the bench between D-League stints. The Lakers signed him in 2011, and he was traded to Orlando as part of the Dwight Howard deal in 2012. They quickly traded him to the Bobcats, where McRoberts enjoyed the best stretch of his career. With Charlotte, McRoberts averaged 9 points and 5 rebounds across 2 seasons. He signed with the Heat in 2014, but played in just 81 games across 3 years due to injuries. McRoberts signed with Dallas in 2018, playing in 2 games and retiring after the season. Since then, he's done some coaching with his high school alma mater in 2022, but has mostly been out of the spotlight. CJ Miles. Miles was committed to Texas for college, but decided to go to the 2005 draft. He did not hire an agent and said he'd go to college if he wasn't a first-round pick. However, the Jazz picked him in the second round and offered him a 2-year guaranteed contract, equivalent to a late first-round selection, so Miles stuck with the team. He spent most of his first few years playing in the D-League and was the subject of a memorable post-game interview by Coach Jerry Sloan, where he said, quote, "If he's going to be on the floor in the NBA, he's got to be able to step up and get after it. We can't put diapers on him one night and a jockstrap the next. It's just the way it is." In 2008, Miles, a restricted free agent, signed a 4-year offer sheet with the Thunder, but the Jazz matched the deal and Miles had to stay in Utah. Fortunately, he started to get more playing time, becoming the team's 6th man in 2011 and bumping his scoring up to nearly 13 a night. Ahead of the 2013 season, Miles signed with Cleveland. He continued to be a solid bench scorer for the next several years, jumping between the Cavs, Pacers, Raptors, Grizzlies, and Wizards. Miles spent the 2021 season with the G League Ignite. He then played in 1 game in Boston in 2022 before heading back to the Ignite roster. As of 2025, Miles is hosting his Strictly Hoops podcast and is very into photography. Tasmin Mitchell. Mitchell jumped out of the gate to play well for LSU, averaging 11 points and 6 boards as a freshman. He was named to the SEC All-Freshman team and improved slightly on his numbers as a sophomore. Unfortunately, Mitchell fractured his shin and injured his ankle 3 games into his junior season. He took a medical redshirt and came back strong in 09, averaging 16 points and 7 rebounds. Mitchell declared for the 09 draft, but withdrew his name to come back for his 5th season with the Tigers. He had another solid year, making his 2nd straight All-SEC roster. Mitchell was not selected in the 2010 draft, but joined the Cavs for Summer League and got a contract. He was waived just before the season and spent a year in the D-League before heading overseas. Mitchell played in Canada, Israel, Russia, and France, making the Israeli League All-Star team in 2014. After retiring, he joined LSU as the Director of Student Athlete Development. In 2019, Mitchell was promoted to assistant coach. He was promoted once again to assistant to the head coach in 2022, where he's still working as of 2025. Greg Paulus. Paulus was born in Ohio and grew up in Wisconsin before moving to New York by the time he was in high school. The guy was a great player on the basketball court and football field, winning Gatorade National High School Player of the Year for his exploits in both sports. He was widely seen as one of the top point guards and quarterbacks in this class, but chose to head to Duke to play basketball. He started nearly every game as a freshman, averaging 7 points and 5 assists alongside J.J. Redick, Sheldon Williams, and Josh McRoberts. With Redick and Williams off to the NBA, Paulus' scoring ticked up to 12 a night as a sophomore before making the All-ACC third team in 08 after maintaining his sophomore numbers. However, Paulus fell out of the starting lineup in favor of the more athletic Nolan Smith as a senior. That let him focus more on being an outside shooter off the bench, but his shooting percentage actually fell off, playing a part in his PPG dropping to 5 a night. Paulus then decided to transfer to Syracuse, but not to play basketball. He was switching to football after 4 seasons out of the game. He did start for the Orange that year, throwing for 2,024 yards, 13 TDs, and 14 INTs, but went 4-8. Paulus was not selected in the NFL draft, but did try out with the Saints in 2010, even getting an invite to minicamp. However, he did not make the final roster. That year, he was hired as an assistant for Navy's basketball team. In 2011, he joined Ohio State's staff as an assistant and worked there until 2017, when he signed with Louisville. After a year there, he joined George Washington for a season before taking over as the head coach at Niagara in 2019, where he's still coaching as of 2025. Martell Webster. When Webster was 4, his mother disappeared. Her body was never found, but many believe serial killer Gary Ridgway, better known as the Green River Killer, was behind her presumed death. Webster was originally scheduled to attend the University of Washington, but like many guys on this list, he decided to jump straight to the pros. The Trailblazers picked him 6th overall in the 05 draft. He averaged nearly 7 points off the bench in his rookie season, while also spending some time in the D-League. Webster was slightly better in 07, but took a step in 08, averaging 11 points and starting almost every game. Unfortunately, he hurt his foot 5 minutes into the 2009 season and was forced to sit out that entire year. He came back in 2010 and was solid, averaging 9 points and playing in all 82 games. Ahead of the 2011 season, Webster was traded to the Timberwolves. He had back surgery and missed about half the season. He was limited again the next year with further back complications. The T-Wolves GM David Kahn complained to the league about the Blazers withholding information and eventually won what is thought to be one of the biggest cash settlements in league history. He was waived by Minnesota and signed with the Wizards for the 2013 season. Webster spent 3 years in Washington, averaging a career-high 11 points in 2013, but his back kept giving him trouble. He spent the 2016 and 2017 seasons out of the NBA, dealing with his back, and then signed with the Pelicans, but he decided to retire before playing. He opened a record label in 2015 and has released a few albums. His daughter Nyla is one of the top players in Oregon for the 2027 class. Lou Williams. Williams was born in Memphis, but moved to Atlanta as a teen. There, he became the Naismith Prep Player of the Year in 2005, before committing to play at the University of Georgia. He ultimately decided to skip college and jump into the draft, where he fell to the second round. The 76ers picked him and played him sparingly as a rookie, but over the next few years, Sweet Lou grew into an excellent heater off the bench, becoming Philly's sixth man in 2008, and holding that spot throughout the next 5 years while pouring in around 13 points a night. He picked up votes for Sixth Man of the Year nearly every season during that stretch, but decided to sign with the Hawks in 2013. He tore his ACL that year, which caused him to miss a ton of time and led to a trade to the Raptors for the 2015 season. Sweet Lou poured in 15.5 points a night that year to win his first Sixth Man of the Year award. He spent the 2016 season with the Lakers, but was traded to Houston in 2017. He was traded again in 2018, this time joining the Clippers. Williams was still coming off the bench, but bumped his scoring up to more than 20 a game to win back-to-back Sixth Man of the Year awards in 2018 and 2019. However, in 2021, the Clips traded him back to the Hawks for Rajon Rondo. He spent the 2022 season there, playing limited minutes, and retired after the season. As of 2025, he's mostly doing his podcast, Underground Lounge, where you can learn all about his favorite chicken wing flavor when he's attending his favorite gentleman's club. Julian Wright. Wright joined Chalmers at Kansas. It took some time for him to get going, but Wright eventually became a starter, making the Big 12 All-Freshman team. In 2007, he bumped his averages up to 12 points and 8 boards to make the third-team All-American roster. He decided to jump into the 2007 draft. The Hornets picked him 13th overall. In his 3 years in New Orleans, Wright averaged 4 points and 2 rebounds, never really improving beyond his rookie season. He was traded to Toronto in 2011, but was out of the league after the season. Wright jumped overseas, spending time in Israel, Russia, Greece, Puerto Rico, Turkey, Italy, France, Taiwan, and Mexico. In 2022, he joined the Big 3 League. As of 2025, he's working as the founder of a sports training company based in Dallas. Luke Zeller. Zeller was born in Iowa, but played high school ball in Indiana. He signed with Notre Dame for college ball, but struggled to get playing time throughout his 4-year career. The big man averaged 4.2 points and 2.5 rebounds over his 4 seasons, starting just 32 games. He was not selected in the 2009 draft and spent the 2010 season in Japan and Lithuania. Zeller then started playing in the D-League, where he continued to improve and earned a contract with the Suns in 2013. He played in 16 games that year, averaging 3.6 minutes a night. That was the end of his NBA career. He did some work with Indiana as a career coach and instructor from 2017 to 2019, while also working as a color commentator for ESPN. Zeller then began working at an Indiana bank, where he's still working as of 2025. His younger brothers, Tyler and Cody, also played in the NBA, and I'll be talking about them in future videos, as Tyler made the McDonald's roster in 2008, and Cody was named to the team in 2011. And that wraps up the 2005 class of McDonald's All-Americans. I'll be back in a few weeks with the next crew, but for now, why don't you check out this video about the 2004 roster.